The coin hits the table before anyone says the number out loud. It spins once, then twice, and the sound is sharp enough to cut through the murmurs. The girl does not move. Her hands stay folded in front of her dress. Someone in the crowd coughs. A man laughs too loud and then stops. She's blind, a voice says. We can see that. She can't work. She can listen. Listening don't plow fields. She eats less than most. She's still a mouth. The girl keeps her chin lifted. Her eyes do not focus, but they are open. The sun presses against her face. She does not flinch. Her aunt stands behind her with a hand on her shoulder, fingers tight, like she is holding down a restless animal. State the offer, the sheriff says from the table. He does not look at the girl. He studies the ledger. $1, the rancher answers. A ripple moves through the men. Some shake their heads. Some nod. That's an insult. It's mercy. It's business. She's no good to me. Then don't buy her. The aunt leans close to the sheriff. It's legal, she whispers. You said it was. It's ward transfer, the sheriff replies. Signed and done. The girl's fingers tighten around something small. A ribbon, worn thin. She rubs it between her thumb and forefinger. You hear that? A boy in the crowd mutters. She don't even cry. She don't see what she's losing, another answers. The rancher slides a silver dollar across the wood. It stops near the sheriff's hand. The sheriff does not touch it yet. $1, he repeats. Any higher? Silence. Boots shuffle in dust. A fly lands on the girl's cheek. She does not brush it away. Going once, the sheriff says. The rancher smiles. Cheap labor, he murmurs. Going twice. Bootsteps break from the back of the crowd. Slow. Even. Not rushed. The men part without being told. No one greets him. No one jokes. He stops at the table. Dust clings to his coat. His hat stays low. He does not look at the rancher. He does not look at the sheriff. He looks at the coin. You lost, the rancher asks. The man reaches into his pocket. Another silver dollar comes out. He sets it down. The sound is heavier this time. That ain't the bid, the sheriff says. The man nudges the coin forward. You offering too? Someone asks. The man shakes his head once. Then what? He pushes the coin beside the first one. His voice is quiet. 1. The sheriff frowns. There's already one. The man slides the rancher's coin back toward him with 2 fingers. It scrapes against the wood. I said 1. The rancher's smile fades. You don't get to change. The man looks at him. Nothing sharp. Nothing loud. Just steady. The rancher swallows. You don't even know what she is. I do. A pause. The sheriff studies the man's face. You sure about this? The sheriff asks. Yes. She's trouble. Yes. She don't see. I know. The sheriff closes the ledger slowly. Sold. The sound moves through the crowd like wind. The aunt steps back at once, as if burned. She does not touch the girl again. The girl tilts her head. Is it done? She asks. Yes, the sheriff says. The man steps closer to the platform. He does not reach for her yet. You're quiet, she says toward him. He does not answer. Are you old? She asks. No. Are you mean? No. She nods once. Are you kind? A long pause. The town waits. He looks at her hands. At the ribbon. At the thinness of her wrists. Yes. The word is simple. No softness in it. Just fact. Then help me down, she says. He steps forward and lifts her carefully from the platform. She is lighter than he expected. The crowd watches the way he holds her, like something breakable but not weak. She'll slow you down, the rancher calls. The man turns his back. You don't even know her name, the rancher pushes. The girl answers before he can. You never asked. A few men laugh, uneasy. The sheriff clears his throat. Transfers final. The man sets her on the ground beside him. She sways once. He steadies her by the elbow. What's your name? He asks quietly. She faces his voice. You first. He hesitates. Cal, he says. She tests it. Cal. And you? Mary. He nods, though she cannot see it. The rancher spits into the dust. Waste of $1. Cal reaches back to the table, picks up his coin, and presses it into the sheriff's palm. Keep it, he says. That's not how. Keep it. The sheriff closes his hand around the coin without another word. Mary turns her face toward the open street. Are we leaving? Yes. Right now? Yes. She smiles faintly. Not wide. Just enough. Good, she says. I don't like how they breathe. Cal studies the men one last time. No threats. No promises. Just memory in his eyes. Come on, he tells her. And together they step away from the platform while the town stands silent behind them. Mary swings onto the horse before Cal mounts behind her. The leather saddle creaks. Hooves scrape against the dirt road, and the town seems to shrink behind them with each step. No one calls out. Only the wind moves through the gaps in the wooden buildings. Mary's fingers grip the reins tight, knuckles white. Cal's hand rests near hers, steady, silent. You gonna sell me again? She asks after a few paces. No, he says. You swear? Yes. Don't lie. I can tell. I'm not lying. She tilts her head. You don't talk much. I speak when needed. Her laugh is small. So far, that's once. The road stretches out. Dust swirls around the hooves, and the smell of dry earth mixes with smoke from old chimneys. She remembers barns, fences, doors she couldn't open. Shadows of men shouting. Then the fire. It comes back in pieces, like broken glass sliding through her mind. You were there, she says. Cal glances at her. Yes. Your sister? Inside. Her fingers tighten on the reins. I remember. You shouldn't. I do. The horse slows as they leave the main street and enter a narrow lane between broken fences and abandoned homesteads. Cal points to a small cabin with a sagging roof and a boarded-up window. Rust eats through the iron star nailed above the door. The wood smells of smoke and damp. This it? Mary asks. Yours for now, he says. She steps down first, testing the ground. Every sound echoes, a branch snaps, a loose board creaks. He follows. She touches the door, tracing the burns. Fingers blacken slightly. Something bad happened here, she says. Yes, he answers. Still here? Yes. The cabin is empty. Dust coats the floor. An overturned chair leans against a wall. Cobwebs hang like faded curtains. Cal removes something from his coat, a rusted badge, and tosses it into a drawer without looking at it. Why? She asks. Reminders, he says. And lies. Her hand rests on the scorched wood near the fireplace. She closes her eyes. She remembers the heat, the voices, the smoke. Not the fire itself, just the terror before it. I know this place, she says quietly. He stands behind her. Then you remember enough. She swallows. You didn't buy me for pity. No, he says. You survived. Her breath catches. Like your sister. Yes, he murmurs. The silence stretches. Only the wind moves through the cracks in the cabin. A floorboard creaks under his weight, and she flinches. You keep looking at me like that, she says. I'm seeing, he replies. She lets out a breath she didn't know she was holding. I thought everyone forgot. They tried, he says. But memory doesn't leave. The sun slides lower. Shadows stretch along the walls. She presses a hand to the burned wood again, feeling the grooves, the scars, the history trapped inside. Are we safe here? She asks. For now, he says. Her lips press together. I hear things at night. Cal nods. I know. She steps toward the well behind the cabin. Water is still, dark. She leans close, listening. It talks. It remembers, he says. Her eyes widen slightly, though he can't see. You believe me? Yes. Mary traces the rim with her fingers. Then we wait? Yes. We wait. She laughs softly. I like waiting with someone quiet. I like it too, he says, though his voice is low, unshowy. They stand there together as the wind moves the dead leaves across the yard. The cabin holds them like a secret, like a bruise no one dares touch. No one comes. No one speaks. Cal turns toward the door. We'll eat soon. Mary shakes her head. Later. I need to see. He nods. Then see. The shadows lengthen. The dust glimmers faintly in the last sunlight. She places her hands on the doorframe and listens for the echo of what happened here, the footsteps, the voices, the fire. Cal watches her, still silent, letting her take the lead. Mary whispers, almost to herself, I remember more than I should. You're not wrong, he says. The wind blows through the cabin, rattling the boards. Outside, the abandoned homesteads lean like tired watchers. The horse waits tethered. The coin from yesterday rests in Cal's pocket, heavy with meaning. Tomorrow, he says, we start. Mary smiles faintly. Good. He does not ask what she means. They do not need to speak. And for the first time since she left the platform, Mary feels the quiet weight of safety settle around her like a coat. They step inside the cabin together, letting the door creak closed behind them, and the wind dies. The chapter ends with their shadows merging on the burned floor, two figures standing in a house full of memory, waiting for what comes next. Mary's fingers traced the blackened grooves in the cabin wall. The wood was scarred, pitted, uneven, and familiar in ways that made her stomach tighten. She pressed her palm harder, feeling the heat that had long since left. The smell of smoke clung to the splintered edges. Her memory came in fragments, sharp and sudden. Flames licking the roof, shadows of men shouting, someone screaming behind a locked door, the metallic tang of blood, the fire's roar swallowing everything else. They said it was lightning, she murmured. Cal watched her closely, quiet, steady. It wasn't. Her fingers trembled on the charred surface. I heard men arguing. I remember voices. One belonged to the sheriff. Another, a rich man. The one who buys land. Cal's jaw tightened. I was inside too. You were? Her voice cracked slightly. I thought, you weren't there. I was. Mary let her hands drop. I can hear it again. Screams. Smell it. That smoke in my lungs. You shouldn't remember, he said, low. I do. His eyes held hers, but she could not see them. It wasn't your fault. No, she whispered. It was theirs. Cal finally moved closer, taking the badge from his pocket, old and dented, and placed it on the table. I wore this once. Deputy. Same town. Same men. Same fire. Mary's fingers hovered over it. Your sister? He nodded. Inside. Locked. Everyone said it was an accident. The sheriff ruled it lightning. The town buried it. Her chest constricted. They lied. They made it disappear. And you watched? I tried. Tried to stop it. I couldn't. His voice was flat. They had power. They still do. Mary's head tilted back. I remember the smell of oil. Kerosene. The way my hair stuck to my face. I remember the voices trying to calm us. Trying to make it sound like it was safe. They lied, he said. I know. Her hands curled into fists at her sides. They thought I couldn't identify them. That I couldn't see them. That I'd forget. You didn't. No, she said. I remember everything. A silence fell, heavy in the cabin. Dust motes drifted in the shafts of light cutting through the cracked boards. Mary's ears picked up a creak outside, a loose hinge swinging in the wind. She didn't flinch. She focused on the memory instead, letting it anchor her. Why'd you buy me? She asked suddenly. I didn't buy you for pity, he said. I bought you because you survived. Her lips parted slightly. Like your sister. Yes. Her hand went to the burned corner of the floor. She traced a deep gouge in the wood. You could have left. You could have walked away like everyone else. I couldn't. Mary pressed both hands to the wall, feeling every line, every scar. I can hear it, Cal. Every scream. Every shout. Every man laughing while we burned. He said nothing. He just studied her, letting the truth hang between them. She felt the weight of it, of him, of the fire that had never left. The fire didn't die, she whispered. It lives in this wood, in this cabin, in us. Cal ran a hand over the edge of the table. It lives. And it waits. Her eyes closed, and she could see the flames in her mind. They curled around the rafters, over the beams, filling the air with heat and light that shouldn't exist anymore. The voices came back, men arguing, someone crying, the smell of iron and smoke. They thought I couldn't tell, she said. They thought I couldn't hear them. You can, Cal said. You always could. I remember the way they laughed after the fire. You think I forgot? You think I forgot them walking away? That smell in the air? That silence they left behind? I remember too, he admitted. Her voice dropped to a whisper. It isn't over. Not really. Not ever. No, he said. Not until we make it right. Mary's hand left the wall. She faced him, small in the wide, empty cabin. Then what do? We wait. We plan. We remember. Her brow furrowed. You said you were silent. I was. But not anymore. Not for this. She studied him carefully. You mean, revenge? Cal shook his head. Not revenge. Justice. Mary let the word settle. Justice, not revenge. It sounded softer, lighter, yet heavier too. She could almost feel the fire shrink inside her chest, replaced by something else. A kind of cold, patient determination. I won't forget, she said. You shouldn't. Another silence. Outside, the wind shifted the broken shutters. Somewhere a branch scraped a wall. The cabin held them like it had held the flames once, quiet and watchful. Mary knelt by the burned floor, tracing the black lines with her fingers again. I can hear it, Cal. The people. The voices. You can use it, he said. I don't know if I want to, she admitted. You survived once. You can do it again. And this time, we choose who pays attention. Her gaze lifted to the corner where the scorch marks ran jagged along the ceiling. You're not leaving? No, he said. Her lips twitched, almost a smile. Good. He glanced at the badge, then at the walls, then back at her. The town buried the truth. But we didn't. We remember. I remember, she whispered. And that's enough, he said. Mary took a slow breath and stood, letting her hands fall from the wall. Then we wait. We see who shows up first. Cal nodded. The weight of the cabin, of the memory, of the fire that didn't die, settled over them like a shroud. The sun sank lower outside, and shadows stretched over the scorched floor. Mary and Cal stood side by side, two survivors in a house full of smoke-stained memory. Every creak, every whisper of wind, every heartbeat in the silence told them the fire was still alive, but it would burn on their terms now. The chapter ends as Mary steps toward the window, tracing the outline of the old homestead outside. She doesn't see it, but she can feel it all. Cal's hand rests lightly on the edge of the table. The fire lives. But so does their resolve. The lantern flickered once and went out. Darkness swallowed the corners of the cabin, leaving only the dull glow of the sun seeping through the cracks. Mary's hands hovered over the chart table, brushing dust and ash aside as if searching for some secret it had kept all these years. She could hear Cal moving behind her, slow and deliberate, the soft shuffle of boots on the worn floorboards. "You were law," she said suddenly. "Yes," he replied. "You quit." They kept theirs. Mary pressed her fingers to the table, the grooves of burns biting into her palms. "You had proof?" "No." "You have me now." "Yes." "So what do we do?" "We don't rush." Her breath was shallow. She stepped back, listening to the silence between them. Outside, the wind moved through the dry grass. A branch tapped against the cabin like a timid knock. Mary turned her head, catching the faint creak of the hinges. "They're out there," she said. Cal did not answer at first. Then he said, "Even if they are, they don't know we remember." The knocking came again, harder this time. Boots. Not casual. Deliberate. Men circling the cabin. He moved to the door, opening it halfway. The sheriff stood there, face pale, eyes wary. "You bought town property," the sheriff said, voice tight. "She ain't property," Cal said. "She's warded." "Not anymore." Mary stepped forward. "I remember your boots," she said softly. The words cut through the tense air. Silence outside. The sheriff's hand hovered near his holster. "Careful," he said. "You remember who locked doors," she continued. "Who let us burn?" The sheriff's jaw tightened. "Step inside." Cal did not move. "Step back," he said. Mary pressed her fingers together, tracing the splintered wood. "You thought we'd forget. You thought we couldn't see." "They were children," he said. "You're wrong," Mary whispered. "We never forgot." The sheriff swallowed. His eyes flicked to the cabin's interior. Cal reached for the drawer, sliding it open. Inside lay the rusted badge, dented and scratched, the symbol of authority he once carried. He lifted it, studying it silently, and then slammed it back into the drawer without another word. The sheriff shifted. "You're trying to make trouble." "I'm making truth," Cal said. Mary watched him, feeling the weight of it settle in the room. The shadows stretched across the floor. Dust motes drifted in the air. Outside, the men paused. They waited for a sign, but there was none. The girl's hand went to the window, brushing against the rough wood. "Why keep it?" she asked. "To remember what's real," he said. "They're still out there," she said. "The ones who burned the barns. The ones who lied." "Yes," he admitted. "And they're afraid now." The sheriff took a step forward, hand twitching. "You think you can stand against us?" Cal's eyes met his. "I don't stand against. I stand with what's right." The sheriff's lips pressed into a thin line. Mary felt the tension coil in her stomach. "Do you know what you're doing?" she asked him. Cal shook his head slowly. "I know who I am." The wind rattled the shutters again. Mary's hand left the window and she faced the sheriff directly. We remember every detail. Every lie. Every scream. Every lock. You're imagining things, the sheriff muttered. No, she said firmly. I remember them all. And he remembers too. Cal leaned forward slightly. Open your eyes, he said to the sheriff. See what's left when truth doesn't hide. The sheriff's hand hovered over his gun. He looked at Mary. He looked at Cal, hesitated. The crowd outside murmured, shifting uneasily. They'll deny it, Cal said quietly. They always do. Mary's lips pressed together. Then make them talk, she said. Let them think they're safe first. Cal nodded. We wait. Patience. Outside, the wind lifted dust from the yard. The cabin stood still. Every board, every scar, every shadow held the memory of the fire and the silence that followed. Mary pressed her fingers to the burned floor again. I hear it. The lies. The people. The voices. Cal's hand rested on the edge of the table. We use it, he said. You sure? Mary asked. Yes, he said. I've waited long enough. The sheriff's eyes flicked to the badge still in the drawer. He tensed. Cal ignored him, letting the moment stretch. Outside, the horses shifted in their spots, impatient. Dust and wind moved through the cabin, carrying the quiet weight of history. Mary nodded to Cal, then we wait. Together. Yes, he said. The chapter closed on them standing side by side. Shadows merged against the scarred walls, the badge in the drawer a reminder of what authority had once been and what it would become again under their watch. The cabin held them, haunted but alive, waiting for the right moment to act. The morning was cold, but the air inside the cabin felt heavier. Mary knelt beside the old well behind the house, fingers tracing the chipped stone rim. Water sat dark and still below. She pressed her ear close. The surface rippled faintly. Voices, or something like them, rose from the depths, faint and fractured. She shivered. I hear it, she whispered. Cal leaned against the cabin wall, watching her without a word. I know, he said. They talk at night, she said, straightening. Not just water. Things from the past. Things that weren't right. They remember, he replied. Mary looked at him. Do you believe me? Yes, he said simply. She let her fingers fall from the well's edge. Then what do we do? We make them speak, he said. Mary frowned. You mean, out loud? Cal nodded. Not with guns. With memory. With truth. Let the town hear themselves in the open. Let them realize what they did. Her chest tightened. They burned barns. Locked children inside. Thought it was controlled. They lied, Cal said. And they will lie again. But we can change that. The wind shifted the broken shutters. A floorboard creaked behind them. Mary spun, hand on her chest. They're still out there. They are, he said. But now, we have the leverage. Mary pressed a hand to her forehead, thinking of the smoke, the flames, the voices. You want them to confess? No. I want them to know they aren't invisible. Her lips parted. Even if they threaten us? Cal's eyes were steady. Then they'll face witnesses. And we won't be alone. Mary knelt again by the well, dropping a small stone in. It hit the water with a dull plunk. Ripples spread, disturbing the dark reflection. It's all here, she said softly. Every lie, every fire, every scream. They can't hide from it. They think they can, Cal said. We'll show them they can't. Mary turned to him. You were law once. You quit. I didn't stop remembering, he said. I just bided my time. She nodded slowly, understanding. We have proof now. Old names. Old complaints. Fires no one investigated. Kids who disappeared. Barns that burned. Everything they thought they covered. Yes, he said. All of it. And you remember it all. That's our strength. Mary glanced at the cabin. Every scar in the walls echoed the past. Every shadow held a story. She pressed her hand to the burned floor again. It talks to me. All of it. Good, Cal said. Then we listen. Then we wait. And when the time comes, they won't be able to deny it. She swallowed. It won't be safe. No, he admitted. But some truths aren't meant to be safe. They're meant to be faced. Mary rose slowly. Then we face them. Together? Yes, he said. She smiled faintly, though her eyes were dark with memory. I can handle it if you're with me. I'll be here, he said. Always. The cabin seemed to breathe around them. The wind rattled the boards, moving dust across the floor. Outside, the well reflected the gray sky. Its surface rippled like the past, waiting to be stirred. Mary stepped closer, pressing her hands again to the rough stone. I can hear more than just the water. The people. Their voices. Their lies. Every fire they started. Every child they ignored. I hear them all. Cal nodded. And we'll use it. Slowly, carefully. Let them think they're safe. Let them underestimate what survives. She glanced at him. Even the sheriff? Yes, he said. He won't stop us. Not if we do it right. The air shifted. A branch tapped the cabin wall. Dust lifted in the weak sunlight. Mary pressed her palms to the stone again, listening. She could almost hear the old barns, the doors slammed shut, the children screaming. The fire never left. Not fully. It lingered in memory, in smoke, in scars. We start soon, she asked. Yes, he said. Soon. But first, we prepare. Watch. Listen. Wait. Mary nodded. The ripples in the well faded, leaving darkness still and heavy. She pressed her fingers against the cold stone. It remembers everything, she whispered. Yes, Cal said. And so do we. She straightened, brushing dust from her hands. Then we're ready. When the time comes, they won't be able to hide behind lies. They won't, he said. For a moment, the cabin was silent. Only the wind and the faint creak of old boards remained. Mary's eyes lingered on the well. I can feel them, she said softly. All the voices. They're waiting, just like us. Cal stepped beside her. And when they speak, everyone will hear. She pressed a hand to his arm. We do this together. No one left behind. Yes, he said. The chapter closes with Mary and Cal standing side by the well, two figures rooted in memory and determination, ready to awaken the town's past. The water's surface reflected the gray sky, still and dark, holding the echoes of every lie, every scream, every fire that had never truly died. The church doors opened slowly, groaning on rusty hinges. Mary stepped inside first, her hands brushing against the worn pews as if testing them, feeling the weight of everyone who had sat here over the years. Cal followed close behind, silent, letting the space settle around them. The congregation murmured as they entered. Heads turned. Whispers rippled down the aisles. She's back. He's crazy. It won't end well. Mary's hand went to the railing at the front. The sheriff and the ranch patriarch sat near the first row, stiff, uneasy, their eyes flicking toward the door. Cal's coat brushed against the pew as he moved forward. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't smile. He simply stood beside her. You remember the fire? Cal said quietly, loud enough for the sheriff to hear. Sit down, the sheriff hissed. You remember locking doors? Cal's voice was calm but sharp. Careful, the rancher said, shifting in his seat. You remember children screaming? Cal asked again, even quieter this time, letting it sink. Mary stepped forward. Say my name, she demanded, her voice stronger than she expected. The rancher laughed nervously, lips tight. Child, accidents happen. You stutter when you lie, Mary said. The words hung in the air like smoke. A few congregants shifted uncomfortably. The sheriff's hand twitched near his holster. You're making a scene. Cal removed the badge from his coat pocket, letting it glint briefly in the sunlight streaming through the stained glass. I never stopped being law, he said. Gasps rippled through the church. Some women clutched their shawls. The preacher paused mid-sermon, eyes wide. The rancher swallowed. It was controlled, he said, voice tight. Mary's head tilted slightly, her blind eyes seeming to pierce him. You said that night it was controlled too. A hush fell. The congregation leaned in, some mouths open, some heads lowered in shame. You're imagining things, the sheriff muttered, stepping forward. No, Mary said firmly. You smell like oil. You were there. You lied then. And now you're lying again. Cal gestured toward the ledger he had brought from the cabin. Open the old records. Names. Complaints. Fires dismissed. Children harmed. A farmer in the back muttered, my barn burned the same year. Another voice followed, hesitant but clear, mine too. The crowd shifted. Tension coiled in the air like a storm about to break. The sheriff raised his hand as if to strike, then paused. His face tightened. The rancher squirmed in the pew. The preacher cleared his throat. All eyes fell on Mary. I was blind, she said softly, but everyone heard. You chose to be too. You chose silence over truth. Cal's voice was calm, measured. The law was mine once. I resigned when they forced lies over justice. Now it's our turn to speak. Witnesses will see. They can't hide anymore. Whispers swelled into murmurs. It's true, someone said quietly. They knew. Mary pressed a hand to her chest. Every lock, every scream, every lie. Remembered. Every detail. And it's time the town remembers too. The sheriff took a half step back, sweating. The rancher tried to rise, voice shaky. This isn't the place. Silence, Cal said. Let them hear themselves. The church doors groaned as the congregation shifted uneasily. Sunlight struck the stained glass, red and gold falling across the floor like fire. Mary's voice didn't waver. You can't lie anymore. Not today. Not ever. The rancher's knuckles whitened around the pew. It was for the land, he muttered. Cal's voice cut through the tension, steady and cold. It was for children. The preacher stepped forward slowly, glancing between Mary and Cal. Enough, he said, but even he seemed uncertain. Mary turned her head slightly. No. You will hear it. Every name. Every barn. Every child. Every fire. The sheriff's hand twitched near his holster again. Cal's gaze followed it, unblinking. You have no badge. You have witnesses. That's all you need. A few townsmen stepped closer to the front, emboldened. It's true, one said. We remember too. The tension in the room shifted. The air felt electric. The lies that had kept the town safe for years began to crack. Whispers grew louder, murmurs turning into acknowledgement. The patriarch's face paled. Mary turned back to the congregation. It's your choice now. Witness the truth. Admit what you ignored. Admit what you hid. The rancher tried to speak again, faltering under the weight of the silence. Cal's hand rested lightly on Mary's shoulder. She did not flinch. The chapter ends with the town hanging on every word, the church silent but alive with the electricity of revelation. Mary and Cal stand side by side at the front, steady and unyielding, as the first cracks in the town's armor finally begin to show. The confession hung in the air like smoke that refused to dissipate. The rancher's face was pale, his eyes darting to the congregation and back to Mary. "I meant the pasture," he said, voice tight. The words barely carried. Mary's head tilted, though her blind eyes fixed nowhere. "You said that night it was controlled too," she said. Her voice was calm, certain, cutting through the murmur of the crowd. Every word measured, every syllable carrying the weight of memory. Gasps rippled. Heads turned. Some murmured. Some whispered to neighbors. The church had gone quiet enough that the scraping of a chair sounded like thunder. The sheriff swallowed, his hand hovering near his gun again. "You're imagining things," he said, shaking his head, trying to regain control. "No," Mary said firmly. "I remember the children pounding on doors. The way someone hummed while the flames spread. I remember the smoke. The heat. The screams. You all knew, and you did nothing." Cal stepped forward. "Open the old records," he said, calm and deliberate. "All the complaints, all the fires dismissed, every child lost, every barn burned. Let the town see the truth for itself." A farmer's voice broke the silence. "My barn burned the same year." Another muttered, "Mine too." Heads turned toward them, murmurs rising into acknowledgement. Some townsmen's hands shook. Some dropped their hats. The sheriff tried to regain control. "You can't prove." Mary interrupted. "Prove? You think it matters if you can't hide from memory? You smell like kerosene. You were there. You lied then. You lie now." The rancher's jaw tightened. His fingers dug into the pew. It was for the land. For insurance. For. Cal stepped closer, his voice low and steady. It was for children. It was for those who couldn't speak, who couldn't run, who couldn't see the truth until now. And we remember everything. The sheriff's hand wavered over his holster. His eyes darted between Mary and Cal. He felt the weight of the room, of witnesses, of memory pressing down. The congregation shifted again. Murmurs became whispers. Whispers became confirmations. "They'll deny it," Cal said quietly, almost to himself. "They always do." Mary turned toward him. "Then make them speak. Make them believe they're safe, and then watch the truth burn through their lies." The wind picked up outside, rattling the old church windows. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass, red and gold like sparks falling from the ceiling. Mary's voice didn't waver. "You thought we couldn't see, couldn't hear, couldn't remember. You were wrong." The congregation murmured agreement, some looking down, some casting sideways glances at one another. The sheriff's shoulders stiffened, and the rancher's face twisted, knowing that the floor under him was shaking with long-buried truths. Mary pressed a hand to her chest. "Every lock, every fire, every lie. We remember. And it's time you do too." The rancher's eyes widened. He looked for support from the sheriff. There was none. The sheriff's gaze was heavy, conflicted, his authority fractured. Cal's hand brushed the edge of the old pew. "This isn't vengeance. This is justice. Witnesses will see. History will speak. And no amount of power can hide it anymore." Mary tilted her head slightly. "Even you, Sheriff? Even you?" He hesitated. The weight of his own silence pressed on him. His hand twitched, but he made no move. He began, then faltered. Cal shook his head slowly. "No excuses. You failed before. You'll not fail again today." The church doors creaked as more townsfolk edged forward, emboldened. The walls echoed with faint memories, like whispers of old flames dancing along the beams. Mary pressed her palms together. "Every child, every home, every lie you covered. It's all here. And you can't bury it anymore." A few men in the back spoke quietly, confirming events. Others nodded, faces pale. Whispers multiplied. Tension rippled through the air, thick and suffocating. The rancher's voice trembled. "I didn't mean." "You meant exactly what you did," Mary said softly. "And now everyone knows. You can't undo it. You can't silence us. Not today." Cal moved to stand beside her. "Let them speak. Let the witnesses see. Let the truth be undeniable." The church seemed to shift with the weight of memory. The beams creaked. Dust fell from the rafters. Every breath held the scent of smoke and scorched wood, though the fire had long since died. Mary's hands dropped from her chest. "It's your choice now. Admit it. Speak the truth. Or remain silent and live with the weight of it for the rest of your lives." The sheriff's hand dropped slowly. He swallowed. The rancher slumped in the pew, knuckles white against the wood. Murmurs filled the aisles. Confirmation, acknowledgement, shame. Some shook their heads. Some covered their faces. Mary whispered, "It doesn't have to end in violence. Just truth. Just memory. Just accountability." Cal's voice was low but firm. "You have witnesses now. Every denial will be met with acknowledgement. Every lie will crumble." The wind rattled the windows again. Sunlight glinted off the stained glass like sparks along the floor. Mary's voice rose just enough to carry across the room. "This is what justice looks like. Not revenge. Not fire. Not fear. Just truth." The congregation shifted. The weight of memory pressed into every person present. Some faces crumpled. Some stiffened. Some finally lowered their heads, unable to hold the lies any longer. Mary took a slow breath. "Now, it's over for you. The fire that never died is done. And it remembers everything." Cal stepped forward, hand on her shoulder, steady, strong. "And so do we." Outside, the wind softened. Dust lifted from the churchyard. The chapter closes with Mary and Cal standing together at the front, the congregation watching, the first cracks of accountability spreading through the town, the memory of flames and lies finally laid bare. The night came heavy and silent. Mary sat by the cabin window, fingers tracing the scorched wood again, listening to the wind lift dust from the yard. Every sound felt magnified, the scrape of a branch, the soft shuffle of boots in the distance, the faint sigh of an animal moving unseen. She could feel the town holding its breath, even though they were miles away. "You hear them?" she asked, not turning to Cal. "I do," he said, voice low, steady. Voices, footsteps, whispers of guilt. "They think they're hidden. They aren't." Mary pressed her palms to the sill. "It's like they're trapped inside their own heads." "They are," Cal said. "Every lie, every lock, every fire. They can't escape it anymore. Not from us. Not from themselves." Her lips pressed together. "It's funny," she whispered. "They call it peace when silence rules. But it's never peace. Just waiting." The cabin shivered in the wind. Dust drifted along the floorboards like smoke from a fire that had never gone out. Mary's blind eyes scanned the shadows as if they could see. She felt shapes, remembered shapes. The sheriff. The rancher. Men who thought authority meant they could erase memory. "They'll come," Cal said, almost casually. "Tonight." Mary's chest tightened. "And we just wait?" "Yes," he replied. "We let them arrive at the truth themselves. We don't force it. We let it hit them like a shot they never saw." Her hand found his. "Like the fire," she said softly. "Sudden. And final." He squeezed it once. "Exactly." The night deepened. Shadows stretched long across the burned yard. Crickets chirped faintly. Somewhere, an owl called, sharp and sudden. Mary could hear the uneven breathing of the horse tethered outside. Every sense sharpened, stretched. She felt the past colliding with the present, memory and anticipation blending. "They're afraid," she said. "Yes," Cal said. "But fear isn't the point. The point is truth." Mary tilted her head. "They'll lie at first. They'll try to claim ignorance. They'll fail," he said. She stood, moving to the center of the cabin. Dust rose with every step. "It's strange," she said. "I can feel them before they even arrive. Every footstep. Every heartbeat. Every lie they carry." Cal nodded, watching her. "The fire lives in memory. And memory is louder than any gun." Mary pressed a hand to her chest. "It's heavy. This knowing. It presses against my ribs." "You survived worse," he said. "I know," she whispered. "But this is like standing inside the flames again, without burning. Watching them squirm while everything you remember burns in their minds." Outside, a branch scraped the cabin wall. Mary flinched. Cal's hand found hers, calm, grounding. "It's here," he said. "They're close." She pressed her palms together. "I can hear them talking. Whispering. Wondering if the cabin is empty. If the girl still lives." "She does," he said. "And she sees more than anyone thinks." Mary tilted her head. "You mean me?" "Yes," he said. "You. Every detail. Every memory. Every lie they thought forgotten. You hold it all. And tonight, it will speak." The wind picked up again, rattling the window shutters, lifting dust from the floor. Shadows moved. The sound of boots approached, deliberate, careful, trying not to announce themselves. Mary's chest tightened, pulse quickened. "They're shaking," she said. "They are," Cal replied. "But not from us. From truth." Mary moved toward the doorway. "And the shot?" she asked quietly. "Will they hear it?" Cal smiled faintly. "They already have. It's a shot they won't see. A bullet fired in memory. One that lodges in conscience. It won't leave them. Ever." The first men reached the cabin edge. The silence was thick, oppressive. Dust swirled around their boots. Mary's breath caught in her throat, yet she stood still, blind eyes forward, feeling every heartbeat, every shift of weight. One man paused. "Is it empty?" "It's never empty," Mary whispered. A second stepped closer, hesitant. "Where is she?"